Hey ABC, it's Greeno. Another update video. Just going to do one where I kind of started here as I'm going and just keep piecing it together. So we'll see how long it goes or whatever. Actually went back to a little shop down around DC that I showed a bunch of stuff from last video. Pick up a couple things for a couple DC members. And while I was in there, pick up a couple other things. Checking them out right now. What's playing is I found this today. The new Udo, however you want to say it. Decadent. And this is on AFM 2015. And this is a 2 LP set on clear vinyl, and it says it's limited to 500. But really kind of digging this. I haven't picked up much brand new Udo for a long time, really, and this is sounding pretty good. See, gatefold, and Udo's starting to look a little old there, man. But he sounds great on here. I have to admit, this is just a dumbass cover. Don't like it at all, really. But digging the music. So, like I said, it's 2 LP, clear vinyl. Clear vinyl, and sounds good. The guy at the shop was telling me about it. I was like, man, I haven't picked up an Udo album for a long time. I do have a double live one come out, I don't know, last year, year before. I haven't even spun it yet, actually. But digging this. It sounds really cool. Also grabbed this while I was in there. Sacred Steel, Reborn in Steel. And this is a German band. This was their first album, I think 97, right around in there. And man, they got like 8, 10 albums now or something. They put them out. Pretty cool. I've had this on CD for a while. It was just kind of cool to find it on vinyl. I have their first 3 or 4 on CD. Just never really see them on vinyl. And this was in there. Limited to 500, and this is number 15. And it originally came out on Metal Blade, but this is on Death Strike Records out of Germany. It looks like they did the vinyl. Hopefully you can see that. And there's the Metal Blade. But kind of that German epic metal, a little bit of power metal kind of in there, but not like crazy continuous double bass drum or anything like that, which for me with power metal gets kind of monotonous. But these guys are just good. They have a touch of that, traditional metal to them, very German sounding. Really cool. If you never checked them out, give them a shot. And just spinning this earlier, I think this came out on Record Store Day. I picked it up afterwards. It's the Heartbreakers. This is the 77 mix for LAMF. It's gatefold, and it's on like a pink and black. Just a legendary punk album. I mean, if you don't know what this is, definitely check it out. Johnny Thunders from the New York Dolls, Walter Lure, just junkie number 2. He's fucking excellent. But just a killer album. The Heartbreakers were fantastic. Also, while I was in there, I actually traded a couple things in, just a very small amount. But put that towards the stuff I picked up, and a couple CDs. I grabbed, or actually one CD. It's kind of cool. I had never seen this. I guess I didn't even check the year. 2011 looks like it came out. It's a 2 CD set of Diamond Head, Lightning to the Nations. It's like a little slip case plastic thing. But pretty cool, man. It's got Lightning to the Nations, and then it has the second disc is singles. So it's got Shoot Out the Lights, Streets of Gold, Waiting Too Long, Play It Loud, Diamond Lights, We Won't Go Back, and I Don't Got. And pretty nice. And basically, you know, just cranking this the whole way home. Just, you know, classic new wave British heavy metal. I don't know, if you're watching my goofy videos and you've never heard this, do yourself a favor, check it out. And if you don't know, this is where some of the covers Metallica did, like they did The Prince and Am I Evil and Helpless. So there's 7 songs on Lightning to the Nations, and Metallica has covered 3 of them. After I got home, I knew I had it on disc, but I just kind of pulled it out. This is the Metal Blade version. Just kind of checking to see. I didn't think it had any of the bonus stuff, which it doesn't. That's basically why I pulled it out. And man, this came out a while back. And the print's so small I can't read it. But I'm thinking 90s or so this come out. Let's go see here. 92 is when it looks like Metal Blade put it out. Anyway, like I said, I just kind of pulled that out to check it because I didn't remember having the bonus stuff. But this one's very cool. It's on Universal. Put this out. Yeah, major label. That's kind of cool. And also grabbed this a couple weeks back and been playing the hell out of this. Never heard of them, and this is actually from 2009. A band from Seattle called Midnight Idols, Sworn to the Night. Hopefully you can see that. And wow, this is like killer traditional, you know, new wave of traditional heavy metal. Like I say, they were out of Seattle, and they had 3 albums. Looked like this was their last one in 2009. I think the first one was like 2005 or so. But really, really good. Kind of a just that traditional 80s metal, but there's some like early 80s kind of priest sounding stuff. Midnight Idols, man. Give them a shot. It totally got by me until just the other day. You know, say this is basically 6 years old, and just checking it out now. That's all I got here in this pile, so we'll cut it and keep going. Alright, we're back, and it's like 2 weeks later. Putting this video together didn't quite work out. I was hoping to do some clips and, you know, as I went, but didn't work. Just crazy busy. So I actually haven't been spinning a whole lot, man. Been, like I said, just crazy busy lately, and kind of just almost taking a little bit of a break. Yeah, it's good to pull back every once in a while and just chill out a little bit. But have been, you know, stuff has been spun the last couple weeks. But anyways, what's playing in the background? Had this for a while. One of my favorite albums. Love this album. Wolf, Evil Star. I couldn't believe I found this on vinyl. It's 2004. And actually, cover right here. Don't Fear the Reaper. This was limited to 500 on Massacre. On a splatter vinyl, 2 LP set. But I found this one of the shops I go to. The shop owner had a friend that passed away, and he was helping the family basically sell the gentleman's collection, Metalhead, you know. And man, he had some amazing stuff in there. And looking through that stuff, when I came across that album, it was just like, you know, holy crap! I'd never seen it on vinyl, quite honestly, and had it on CD since it come out. And a cool band, stuff before Evil Star and stuff after Evil Star, good stuff. But they peaked on this album. Love this album. But super happy to pick that up, and not only do I really like that album, but now it's almost like a special album to me because it came from a guy that passed away. He was big into metal, and I almost feel like I'm, you know, just caring for it till the next owner comes along, you know. It's going to happen to all of us. So. But anyways, I just kind of jump into what's been going on here, I guess. Picked up a CD. Found this real cheap. It's like $4 or $5. The band's called Pussy, and the album is Invasion. And this was a reissue, or not even a reissue, just an album put out on Vintage, which is part of Monster, Rockadrome, that whole deal. Very cool stuff. These guys, I didn't know this when I picked it up, but it's two members of Jerusalem. Basically the bass player, singer, and the drummer. I guess the guitar player moved on. They didn't want to, from what I read, they didn't want to keep the Jerusalem name, so they went with Pussy. But really cool and different. Jerusalem, that album, one album is all they did, produced by Ian Gillan from Deep Purple. That's like full-on 70s hard rock kind of stuff. I really dig that album. This is different. It's actually, it started out with one guitar player and did all these demos and a single, I think, with Ian Gillan again. And it just kind of disintegrated. And then there was some interest showed in the band. They got it back together, but the original guitar player didn't want to come back. So they got another guy and basically went in the studio with Gillan and re-recorded everything. Got an album ready, and it just petered out. It never got released, and basically Rockadrome found all this stuff, put it all together, and released it on here. So it has both versions, the early recordings and then the later 70s recordings. I think the early ones are like 72, 73, somewhere in there. And then it gets into the late 70s with the second guitar player. I actually like the later recordings, but the singer on this album is very different. It's he almost has like a cadence to him. He's still singing, but it's like a cadence to all of his lyrics. And it's got some hard rock elements, but it also has like a little bit of that English glam that was going on at the time, like Slade and that kind of thing. A little more commercial sounding, but very cool. Dig this. I'd love to find this on vinyl. I don't know if they've ever put it out on vinyl. I didn't see it anywhere anyways. Alright, next up, another CD. It's a band called Prowler, Stallions of Steel. I've checked this out and dug it. I haven't really checked into them yet. It's brand new, 2015 on Pure Steel. I believe it's brand new. But new wave of traditional heavy metal. Good stuff. Again, kind of ran into a bit of a sale. Picked these CDs up. Good price. And I was kind of excited to get this. I have an EP by these dudes. It's not in English. Hey, crap, where were they from? Were they from Chile or somewhere like that? I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm just winging. I grabbed this stack and we're going. So, might not be perfect here. But like I said, I loved that EP. This, I was excited to hear, and it's Midnight Priest. Found it on CD, and it's Midnight Steel is the name of the album. This is a full length. Cool music, or cool songs, but I didn't like the production on this. It doesn't come close to that first EP. They're in English now, or no? Yeah, I believe they are in English now. Christ, I can't remember. I listened to this like 3 weeks ago or something. But I only listened to it once, and I kind of got turned off on it. I wasn't as big on this as I was that EP, but want to spin it again. And like I said, you know, the production just kind of turned me off. It's kind of thin production. I actually had to crank the mids to get it to sound halfway decent. But we'll try it again. I picked up a book. Really excited about this. I actually have a shirt. I found it online. You know, everybody makes shirts now. But it's the Neat Records, the New Wave British Heavy Metal label. It has their logo with the thumbs up. And I was wearing that in a shop, and this dude come over to me, starts talking to me about the label. Really cool dude. And he tells me about this book. He's like, it just come out, man, and he'd already got it, said it was great, so I immediately went home and checked for it and found it. It's called Neat and Tidy, the story of Neat Records, and here's the logo here. Very cool. Tons of killer pictures. And bands on this label were like Tigers of Pantang, Venom, Fist, just all these classic new wave British heavy metal bands. Toe Brook later on. But really digging this. I'm only like 2 chapters in so far, and it started out with Neat was based around this studio called Impulse, and which started in like '69, and it wasn't until about '79 when the guy that owned it, who would start little labels along the way trying to make money, finding people, putting out records and making a label. He started Neat in like '79 and put out 2 singles that are totally not metal, that just don't belong. And then all of a sudden, he comes across Tigers of Pantang, puts out a single by them in like December '79, I think it was, and that's it. It's metal from there on out, all through the '80s on the Neat label. These guys, Taggers actually got signed to MCA and all that. Pulled this out, reading the book. But really good read if you're into new wave British heavy metal. You want to check out one of the labels. Man, I wish somebody would do one of these, or do a book on Ebony Records. Love that label. So, but that's what I'm reading right now. Super happy with that thing. All right, next, Damona. These guys were from Chile, and I believe this is the newest one. This is 2013. Speaking with the Devil. Sorry. Really cool. Killer thrash. The music is fantastic. Female singer here plays bass and sings, and really like an odd vocal pairing with the music. It's cool. It's always a little like haunting or something. She's not a screecher in any way, or a typical thrash singer. It's like this odd vocal over top this killer thrash, kind of like in a Slayer vein. But cool band. I'm really digging them. I found this sealed, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. Big Street, and this is an indie pressing, a band out of Pennsylvania. Sinwood, Pennsylvania, I think is how you say it. But I remember a friend had this, and I came across, like I said, it was sealed, brand new. So I picked it up. I'm trying to remember the year. It was early 80s, I think, 83. Just kind of that era, rock, almost a touch AOR, and like I say, private press. Very good. I mean, totally dig this. Actually, I put this on CD for a friend probably 10 years ago. He had the vinyl, maybe 15 years ago, and I put it on CD for him. I didn't make a copy for myself, I don't believe. It was kind of cool to come across it again because I hadn't heard it since I did it for him. Next, some non-metal. Bernard Purdie. Pretty good. And that's what this is. Pretty good. This is killer. Totally digging this. 60s, I believe. Can't remember now. 71. Kind of, actually been talking to Aaron about this, because Aaron, metal theologian, definitely knows more about this kind of stuff than I do. And I'm finding I like this kind of stuff. It's like, he calls it, or he said it's like soul jazz, I guess. I hear like funk and soul and jazz, some blues, a little bit of everything in here. And really digging it. So I'm trying to find more stuff like this. And this is a reissue, cheap reissue. Sounds great. Definitely want to find some more stuff like this. Alright, next. Exodus, Impact is Imminent. This is a reissue on Back on Black. Originally came out in 1990. And to be honest, I remember this album and I heard it, but I never really got into it at that point. About 90, 91, I kind of, I don't know, moved on from the whole thrash metal, hair metal. I kind of kept an eye on it, but I wasn't as deep into it as I was before. So it's cool to go back and pick these up. Totally dug it, you know. Just yeah, it fits right in there with the Exodus from that era. Kind of happy to find this. Dio, Chasing Rainbows, live at the Coliseum, Washington, 1984. It's a 2 LP set. It's a radio show. Very well done. Back on black. Like I said, gatefold, 2 LP. Sounds good. It's a radio show from that era. It has that sound to it, but yeah, it's not on the level of a true live album. But very, very, very listenable. And if you're my age and remember, you know, excuse me, back in the 80s, 70s, even a little bit into the 90s, I guess, you know, all the radio shows, live shows, interview shows, just, you know, radio was totally different back then. Now it's just for, you know, they play songs in between the commercials is all they do now. But back then you had shows, and, you know, every weekend there was some live shows, King Biscuit, which I think this is an old King Biscuit show, and that kind of thing, you know. Really cool inserts, or inner sleeves, I should say. Some other ones that look really cool, wouldn't mind checking out. Alright, next. I had this on CD for a while, and it's another one of those monster rocket drone things. It's actually kind of a, I guess, a compilation. I don't believe they actually had an official released album. Slaughter Extraords, I think is how you say it. But 2 LP set, gatefold, really cool. The material's from like 83 to 87, and this come out on Steel Legacy Records. They licensed it from Rocket Drone. These guys were, man, here we go, Chicago area, I believe, and it's kind of like a progressive metal, kind of early on, leaning towards early Queensryche kind of stuff. You know, not full on Queensryche, but you know, the Fates Warning Queensryche, just that whole kind of scene. Really dug this. Like I said, I've had it on CD for a while, so it's cool to find it on vinyl. And this is odd, man. Some dude traded in all this weird, to me, weird import. Oh, I don't even know what half of it is. But when he traded it in, he made like these little cards for everything, for each album. And these guys were from Hungary, is that right? Yep, made in Hungary. And it's the band's called Gemini. And to be quite honest, it's not that good. But it was cheap, and I picked it up because he wrote on here, Gemini, A+, Heavy Boogie Prog, first track, has super tight production with distorted guitar and a killer guitar solo. This is righteous. Awesome side through effects, raw guitars. This dude made this album. By reading this, sound incredible, and I'll give it to him. The first track is really good. It's just fuzzed out, kind of. What was the year? 76. Totally fuzzed out, and you know, a little hard rocky sounding, and then it went downhill from there. It lost all of its edge. It just became pop rock basically, and it just wasn't that good. But like I said, it was cheap. It's from Hungary, so I don't think I have anything else from there. And I like the first track, so I'm gonna hang on to it. And I find this interesting. And I talked to the guy at the shop, and he was like, he did this on all these albums he brought in. And I guess I was late because I only saw like 4 or 5. But he said he brought in a good sized stack, so I'm wondering what else was in there. Last thing in this pile, just kind of pulled this out, hadn't heard for a while. Metal Inquisitor, Doomsday for the Heretic, killer, early new wave traditional heavy metal, I guess you could say, even before that was being talked about. This is on Hellion, limited to 500. And this album come out early 2000s, I believe. German band. I'm hoping. Like I said, I didn't prep for this, and I'm half burnt out. But killer band. If you've never heard this and you dig the traditional heavy metal, definitely check these dudes out. Still around. And like I say, they're early on, before there was even, they were calling it new wave of traditional heavy metal. A few bands. I mean, I almost put Wolf in there. They had a bit of a Maiden, a later Maiden, later 80s Maiden kind of thing going on. But killer band. Alright, might show a couple more here real quick. I'll probably wrap this video up. Alright, just a couple more here. What's playing right now, switch the record, is Warhorse, Red Sea. It's a reissue. Picked up their self-titled debut not long ago, and was on the lookout for their second album, which I think was their last one. This is from '72, and this had Nick Simper, is that his name? From Deep Purple. I guess he left Deep Purple in late '60s, '69 or something, and started Warhorse. Cool '70s hard rock. The debut is better, I think. This is a little less like heavy blues, still in there, but I don't know, just a cool album. Except the only thing, I mean, there's a drum solo on here. I could have done without that, but definitely a cool album. Did a trade with brother LJ. Got a couple things here. One I've listened to, one I haven't yet. One I haven't cracked open yet is Cauldron, Burning Fortune. I have this on CD, but I never managed to pick up the vinyl. He had an extra copy. Had a couple things he wanted, and he had a couple things I wanted, so we did a trade. Very cool, new wave traditional heavy metal. Cauldron's been around for a while. This is like their second, third album, something like that. They got an EP, I believe, too. But cool band. Canadian, is that right? I don't know. Don't listen to me. Next, I just kind of waited on this album for some reason, and I don't know why. I was kind of on the fence, checking out clips online. I was like, I'll get it at some point. Totally glad did the trade, and LJ sent this my way. Enforcer, From Beyond. And this is badass. This kind of blew me away. It's like, wow, this sounds so much better than the clips heard online. One of the bands that really made a noise with the new wave of traditional heavy metal. When these guys come out, they got a lot of publicity, and they were in UK magazines and all that kind of stuff. Really cool band, and this is a great album. And I'm guessing this is their third or fourth, somewhere in there. But totally digging this. This is on Nuclear Blast. Just come out last year. And like I said, for some reason I was on the fence on it, and totally glad did the trade. Because I'd have been pissed off if I'd missed this one. Now a couple non-metal things to finish this up here. Love this cover, and the music's just as good as the cover. Preston Love's Omaha Barbecue, featuring Shuggy Otis on guitar. More soul jazz, I guess you could say. And with Shuggy Otis, it's got a definite blues feel to me. Shuggy was like 16 when he did this album, and it's cool stuff, man. And here he is. He would go on. His dad, was big in the music scene, and producer, writer, all that kind of stuff. And Johnny Otis, he actually produced this album, and you know, Shuggy went on to put out his own albums, and you know, I've got a couple, and they're definitely cool, bluesy sounding stuff. Totally dug this, and love the cover. And these are fantastic. Like I said, I've been going through a little bit of a funk thing, like looking for old 70s, you know, the real deal kind of stuff. Came across these, excuse me, and they're killer. Kind of found them online because of the cover. As I was scrolling through something, it was like, is that Pam Grier on the cover of that album? And then the more I got looking at it, it was like, wow, this looks really cool. So it's called Can You Dig It? And basically, the music and politics of black action films, 68 to 75, Volume 1. And that is Pam Grier, who was in all the or not all of them, but in a ton of blaxploitation movies in the early 70s, early mid 70s, whatever. Which I dig that stuff. Have a bunch on DVD, and came across this and been spinning the crap out of this. Just total music from that era, man. That if you've ever seen a 70s blaxploitation movie, the soundtrack, that's the music on that album. And here's Volume 2, also with Pam Grier on the cover. And of course, Pam Grier were going to do some Tarantino movies in the 90s and all that kind of stuff. But just killer stuff, man. A lot of artists I have no idea who they are, but I love the music. So, alright, that's it. Got a little weird there at the end, I guess, if you're tuning in for metal. But I'm going to go ahead and post this, because I don't know when I'll be able to record again, or when I'll feel like recording again. So, hope everybody's doing well in the VC. Been some really cool contests going on, and I'm doing my best to keep up with everybody. I'm so far behind on videos, blah blah blah. Everybody, goes through that. But I'm around and still checking everybody out. A little later, VC.